Invest in daughters, sisters, and wives. They're gonna change our lives. In women, in girls. They'll make a better world. Invest in her. Invest in her. Invest in her. Invest in her. And now here's your host, Catherine Gray.
Welcome to this week's edition of Invest in Her. I'm your host, Catherine Gray, founder of She Angel Investors and co-founder of the She Angels Foundation. As you know, we are all about funding women, and that is what our guest is all about today. She's the founder of the Capital Boutique, which helps connect women in STEM with funders, with a specific focus on women of color, especially Indigenous women. Because she is just that, and she is amazing. Please welcome to the show, Shannyn Smith. Hi, Shannon. How are you?
Hi, Catherine. Thank you for the introduction, and thank you for having me. So good to see you.
Thank you. Well, and you know, it's not often that I get to talk on the show specifically about Indigenous women, and I'm so glad that we're going to put a focus on that today. And I think it's just incredible what you've done. But first, I like people to get to know my guest. You were just sharing with me you were born and grew up in New York.
Yes. So I was born on Long Island, grew up in the Bronx, and moved out to the Shinnecock Indian Reservation on Long Island when I was going into kindergarten. So I grew up on the reservation until I went to college. So yes, from New York, grew up on the reservation, and really that's the culture that I know. So when I was younger, we would go to powwows around all across New England, and I live in Boston now. So I went to the Mashpee powwow as an adult, and I remember going as a child with my cousins, and we'd all have regalia, and we would spend. Well, I don't say we. I don't sew. My mother and all of my aunts would get together to make our regalia. So when I say regalia, it's the attire that we wear to celebrate our culture. So it would be a dress and the moccasins and a lot of beadwork. So yes, that was how I grew up. And just as you said, it's been really important to me as I founded the Capital Boutique to spotlight and really try to pull together a group of Indigenous women in STEM. So STEM meaning science, technology, engineering, math, and medicine. So STEM with 2 M's. And also when I was younger, my brother and I would go to science camp. My mother's a teacher. And there's an organization called the American Indian Science and Engineering Society. And I actually started with that society first to try to identify Indigenous women in STEM. And I also looked into, so I graduated from MIT Sloan School of Management, and there's an initiative called MIT Solve. And within that, there's a fellowship for Indigenous communities. And so within that group, there are also women in STEM. So I pulled together within the Capital Boutique an affinity group of Indigenous women in STEM, because it's really important that we see people like ourselves advancing and really trying to create that kind of micro community.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So important. And what's why I wanted to put a focus on that today, because it's something we should be talking about more. And what an interesting childhood you had. And so interesting that you grew up in that culture and then kind of like accelerated yourself into this venture capital angel world.
Oh my gosh, yes.
You know, what an interesting transition from where you came from. And, you know, hopefully bringing along a lot of those people to participate as angels. And, you know, in your Capital Boutique, and let me mention too, not only do you have degrees from Harvard and MIT, but you also have had a super successful career in biotech, healthcare. You work for a biotech company right now in Boston, right?
Yes, I do.
And, you know, you were noted as one of the most influential people in the healthcare industry. I mean, you know, you are an incredible woman. And I love that you're taking all your expertise and success and putting it into giving back. Mm-hmm. And that's what I think every successful woman should be doing, not just because they should be doing it, but because, and I'm sure you'll attest to this, it is the most fulfilling thing that you could be doing. It's our legacy, right?
Absolutely. And it's not an obligation. It's a personal commitment. And despite being very busy with my day job in biotech and having the Capital Boutique as it's not a side hustle, it's really a passion project. I still create time to mentor. There's a young lady that I met while I was at MIT Sloan who's in the Europe program. So she and I have regular check-ins. And some of the advice that I give to her about her career is actually advice that I need to take myself. So it's really like holding up a mirror when I'm speaking with her. And there's also another woman in the Indigenous Women in STEM who reached out to see if I would also mentor her. So it's about creating time because you know that it matters. And you mentioned sort of this is I was in healthcare in Manhattan and then moved into biotech and moved to Boston. And let's say advancing women has always been part of my career. Always when I was building teams in consulting in New York, it was really important to me to help support other women in their careers and figure out what they wanted to do ultimately and how I can help contribute to their career path. And I'm invested in doing that because I did not have that. So it makes it even more important. But the Capital Boutique and getting into VC and funding of female founders really came out of research I was doing at MIT Sloan. So I did the executive MBA program. So being not coming from generational wealth, I needed to work and also go to school. And during the last semester of MIT, I was able to select a research project. So I was doing a lab called Innovation-Driven Entrepreneurial Advantage. And within that lab, I didn't have a startup idea, but I wanted to really probe this issue of at that time, it wasn't female founders of biotech companies lagging male founders in terms of venture financing. I was looking at a report from so the Biotech Innovation Organization, that showed there were 0.1% women, this was 2019, Native women in executive positions or in the C-suite in Boston biotech. And I thought, this is appalling. This cannot possibly be true. It is true. I think now it's 0.3% as of 2021. And so that seemed like, frankly, too large of a problem for me to think about in a couple of months at MIT Sloan. And so I took a broader focus, a broader lens on the issue of female founders lagging male founders in terms of venture financing. And at that time, I was focusing on specifically biotech and life sciences, but I've kind of broaden that lens even farther to women in STEM. And I focus on women in STEM because that's my background in STEM, so science and math. And when I think about investors and being attracted to that 10x return, it's more likely that would happen among the women in STEM. And so that led to the Capital Boutique. And just as you said in the intro, the whole purpose is to disrupt the boys club and by increasing access to capital for female founders. And the funders are a broad range. So just like as you are, an angel investor or an accelerator and venture investors, of course. So that's really how the Capital Boutique came to be.
I love that. And like I said, it's all about successful women taking the time to, and you called it a passion, and I would even go one step further and call it a calling. I think it's like our purpose on the planet.
Yes.
Is to learn all these things and then give back.
Yes.
We're going to break for just a minute because I have a fun message from our sponsor, the BRA Network, which stands for the Business Relationships Alliance. It's an incredible group of women. We've got to get them to collaborate with the Capital Boutique. And right now they're just going to give us a message about some cool upcoming events coming up for them, but everybody should check them out, the BRA Network. We'll be right back.
I know we've all been to hundreds of conferences. Just hearing the word conference and you can picture the lanyard and the name tag and the taste of cold coffee. You wrap up, you post on Instagram, maybe you get a swag bag. You leave thinking, well, now that I'm empowered, what's next? How does this help my growth, both personally and professionally? Well, it's time to change things up. It's time to shake things out. Prosperity plus abundance. Flourish plus consciousness. That is the Wealthy Women Summit, set for August 25th and 26th in the beautiful Long Beach Harbor. Right next to the Queen Mary, docked is the Sir Winston yacht, because nothing says a conference about wealth than a conference that takes place on a yacht. We are going to have panels and speakers and workshops on all the different decks, everything to help you cultivate a life that is more than just wealth, meaning the money you have in the bank, but wealth in mind and body, wealth in leadership and growth, wealth in health, wealth in life. We want to provide you with a full experience of living a wealthy lifestyle. Now, I want you to head over to the wewosummit.com website. It's WeWo, WEWO, summit.com, and use promo code INVEST to get 15% off your ticket to this very unique experience. See you this summer.
And we are back with Shannyn Smith from the Capital Boutique. She is the founder, and we are talking about what an incredible organization this is to connect funders with women in STEM, which are so underfunded and so under-recognized. It's such an important mission that she's driving home. So let's talk about this a little bit about, I was so impressed that you started this not that long ago. Was it 2021?
It was end of August. I did a soft launch. Yeah, soft launch.
Yeah, and you told me like you started off with maybe 100 people and then it quickly accelerated to over 500, right?
I'm just at the cusp of 500 500 women. And these are women all across the US. There are actually some women outside of the US, but because they're working out of Boston and they're kind of in Europe as well. And so I think the acceleration of the membership is really a reflection of the unmet need that there is to connect founders and funders. And that was also part of the research that I did at MIT. I was trying to, once I realized how challenging it was for, and I say challenging isn't even a strong enough word, how challenging it was for female founders.
Challenging, imbalanced, unfair.
Yes, all of those, yes. And those don't even seem strong. So something stronger than those words, but I think the audience gets the idea.
Yeah.
And so I was looking at the female founders and the funders and how challenging it is for female founders to get funding, and because it was so appalling, it really became the calling, as you just suggested.
Right. And then one thing we talked about is who are members of the Capital Boutique. So the Capital Boutique is anything from women that work at VCs to women angels to women looking for funding who are in STEM. And let's again tell everybody what STEM stands for.
Science, technology, engineering, math, and medicine. So STEM with 2 M's.
Right. And a lot of people don't know what that is. So I was really happy that you explained that. So all of those verticals. And you were telling me that it really is comprised more of the women looking for funding and the VCs than the angels. And you and I have talked about this. We were on a panel together talking about this, that we need more women to become angel investors. Mm-hmm. And so one of the perfect ways to do that is to join a group like the Capital Boutique to learn about it.
Yes.
And there are so many successful women that are in a position they could be an angel investor, which means they're an accredited investor, they make a certain amount or have a certain amount of assets. But so many, it, like you said, it really has been an old boys club world in the investment world. And women like yourself are disrupting that, which is a wonderful thing. But women angel investors or people that could potentially be really need to step up to the plate and join angel groups, join the Capital Boutique, join these various opportunities to learn about angel investing, not just because it's like a moral obligation to help other women, and we just want to all lift each other up, but it's also a very lucrative opportunity that has been something that the men have known about, that the women have not been privy to, but now we are. In fact, venture capital, I just read, rose by 83% in favor of going to women in 2021. Still not moving the needle nearly enough, since we only got to less than 2% to begin with, but it is moving in the right direction. And I think the reason is because of groups like yours, Shannon. women are starting to learn that there are groups that they can go and learn about angel investing, learn about venture capital and how to be a limited partner, and women starting their own funds. I imagine you have some.
Yes, there are women. Yes, there are women. So goodness, there's a lot there, Catherine, that we can unpack together. But yes, there's a range of funders in the Capital Boutique. So definitely, most of the funders are women in venture capital. But just to your point, the angel investors are part of that group. Accelerators, or even some incubators where there might be funding that's part of that partnership opportunity with an accelerator. And it is around women understanding when to seek investment and what type of investment. So not all investment needs to be VC. And I think we've talked about this before, and that's where the angel investors come in. And so that's one aspect that I'm building out farther, is to build out the angel investors. And even within the STEM community, or female founders in STEM, there are challenges. So we talk broadly about women and that challenge to raise capital, but women who are in public health, for example, undervalued or underappreciated areas where it's really important, or assisted technology. If we're making a device that improves bed sores or alleviates pain in a hospital bed, that those are also important. It's not always about the shiny technology. It might be something that's really more, let's say, more important for humanity.
Right. I love that. And, we need to also focus on the fact that all these women are starting their own funds, which is no easy task.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on that?
So when during the research at MIT, I did a lot of one-on-one interviews with women, both women in VC and female founders. And on the VC side, there are women who are GPs. So they've gone off and started their own funds bravely. And the challenges that they face in raising funds, whether it's from different institutional investors, endowments, foundations, it's at least as challenging as female founders trying to raise money with VCs. And so that sort of parallel experience is also what led to additional research that I'm doing with Fiona, who's the head of the MIT Innovation Initiative. And so we're evaluating how the gender diversity has shifted or not in the last 10 years, and whether female funds led by women, where there's maybe 2 or more general partners who are women, whether limited partners with a focus on endowments and foundations are realizing better returns than those funds that are led by men only. And so I think that will be really very revealing, I would say.
Absolutely. In fact, I know of a female founded fund that, typically a fund will invest in 20 or 25 companies before they hit a unicorn. And this particular one, they run by 2 women, picked their first 3 were all unicorns. Wow. So people are leaving money on the table by not investing in these women and these female founded funds, because they're smart, savvy women, because they have to be in order to even compete in that very competitive arena.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And then also in talking to women, and even recently with the different events that I host within the Capital Boutique, is learning more about how women are pitching their startups. And there's just more reality built into how they're pitching, and more data driven. And as much as they're aspirational, it's really grounded in what's truly possible. And so between them being, let's say, more realistic, and also being backed by that data, I think it really lends credibility to them being the right investment. And I think, just as you said, that then in turn allows for the investors to realize returns that are maybe outsized versus other investments that they're making.
Absolutely. And, I've read some other research and you could check this out, that women in the next couple of decades are coming into trillions of dollars. Whether it's, money they've made their own, or inheritance, or their family, husband, whatever, but they're coming into trillions of dollars in the next couple of decades. And we're going to be a very powerful force. And instead of having just 3% of the venture capital funding, it's a long road, but let's hope we can accelerate it to at least the 50% we deserve. We are 50% of the brain power and population, right? And let's hope that it goes to all women, women of all ethnicities, all ages, and I say hope. We don't have to hope. It's whatever we create. And I feel like this is in our hands, and it's women like you that are changing up the game. So thank you for what you're doing. If someone wanted to join the Capital Boutique, what does it entail? How do they sign up? And what happens once they do?
Oh, sure. So it's free to join. You can send me an email at Shannon. My first name is spelled Shannyn, Shannon at the Capital Boutique, TheCapitalBoutique. So Shannon at thecapitalboutique.com. And you can just send me an email and let me know what type of company you have, or what type of fund or accelerator you're leading, and it's really easy to join. I'll send you the link and you'll be invited in. And once you join the boutique, you'll see there are different events, different affinity groups, and also you'll have a curated one-on-one introduction. So what I've been doing more recently, now that we're at almost 500, doing introductions, whether it's founder to founder, founder to funder, based on business or sector focus, and also maybe a personal connection. There are women in the boutique who are former athletes or who have run ultra marathons, and so it's a way to establish a connection. And so that's really what I'm trying to do, and really appreciate the work that you're doing, Catherine, with Invest in Her, because it takes all of us to have an impact and make a difference and move the needle beyond incremental.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for the work you're doing. And can people follow you on social media?
Sure. I'm only on LinkedIn. So /Shannon, Shannyn.
Okay, great. So we'll look for you on LinkedIn. They will visit your website and hopefully join this amazing group. Of course, people can follow us on Instagram at Catherine Gray Invest in Her, or our She Angel Investors on all of the other platforms. Of course, I'm on LinkedIn. I think we all are now, which is a great platform as well. And you'd mentioned that women have a hard time once they have an idea figuring out how to get the funding. I think it is the big $1 million question. We just released an e-course called 6 Ways to Fund Your Business, and it's like funding made simple for female founders. It's on our website, sheangelinvestors.com. So between all these resources that Shannon has, that we have, they're here for everybody to access so that they can find the funding if they have a great idea or need to scale their business. And Capital Boutique is a wonderful group to join and check out. Also, our sponsor is the Bra Network, which is a different kind of networking group. Also wonderful for you to Google and check out and become a member. There's so many resources out there, everybody. So don't sit on the sidelines and think you're on your own. It takes a village, and we have to all reach out and help each other, right?
Absolutely. Thank you, Catherine.
Thank you, Shannon. Everybody have a great week. Remember to invest in her. Remember, if you're looking to launch a business or grow your business, check out our e-course, 6 Ways to Fund Your Business, available at sheangelinvestors.com.
Our theme music was created and produced